What's going on, folks? On the air with VA3EWV. That's the drive it after 5. That's right. Didn't have a drive after 5 yesterday because my car, the alternator went out. So that was a drive to the bank because it was like a lot of money to fix. Yes, that's right. It was heartbreaking, but you know, we got her back on the road. Had to use the XYL's car. So she was like, don't put no radio stuff in my car. So there you go. There you have it. I've been missing you guys out there, that's for sure. So back on the drive at 5, got the old Anytone D578UV plus in the car with me today. I'm going to be trying to do simplex. That's what I always try to do first. Did a little repeater work second. If you're out there, you can try to go on, hey Bob, how's it going there? Leave a big hello in the comment section so I know you're there. I see 2 people watching, but I don't know who they are. But then I see Bob out there. If you ever get on Simplex, Bob, we can try to see if we can have a QSO. I have talked to some people on on Simplex out there before. So I'm going to try to convince the wife to let me go out and do some parks on air, because I have to keep my ranking up there. I don't know how that's going to work out though. We shall see. I've been trying to get her to come out with me, but I've been striking out on that. So let's see what happens here. Let me just try to get some people on the radio. We're going to try Simplex first. This is Victor Alpha 3 Echo Whiskey Victor Mobile. Anyone on frequency?
VA3EWV Victor Echo 3 Oscar Tango Whiskey.
Victor Echo 3 Oscar Tango Whiskey. Jonathan, VA3EWV Ernest returning. Good evening to you, man. It's a good day outside there today. Eh? I come out of the office, the sun is shining, it's a nice temperature outside. I was like, shoot, I should have went outside a couple times today, but I was stuck up in the stuffy office there.
Oh yeah, Ernest, it's quite a nice one out there. I was just speaking to Ante VA2BBW about 5 minutes ago, and I said, you know what, let's QSY to 5.2 because Ernest will probably be on here, and we could have a chat with the 3 of us. But he estimated that he went QRT, so if there was about a 10-minute difference, you could have had a chance to speak to Ante as well, Gary. Find out the status of your award there. But yeah, you did come up, and we said, yeah, maybe Ernest will be on here, but the timing just didn't work out.
Hey, I actually got him when I went out to the park the other day. I got to get him in for a QSO, and my face lit up like a Christmas tree. I'm like, hey, I know who that is. And you know what? We paused for a second. I had quite the pile-up going, but we paused for a second. We traded some banter back and forth there. It was really good to hear from him. He said he appreciated the pictures and videos I was posting for that challenge there. Yeah, and it was a good time. Back over to you.
Well, very good, very good. Yeah, it's a shame you didn't have a chance to tell him today. We were almost expecting you to pop in there because we said it's that time of day, and Ante just told me the traffic is really slow out there. So we were hoping maybe the timing will work out, but I guess it didn't. But regardless, at least you got to work up on HF, and you got the contact for the POTA there, and that could add up to your total. So that's good, that's good. But yeah, the HF conditions are slowly coming back. You know, nothing super exciting DX-wise, but we'll see how things go. The lower bands will come back into play, and we'll see how things are.
Yeah, I dabbled outside of 40 the other day. At home, I put my end fed up, and instead of having slope, I scoped out another tree, a little bit outside of my property, but that's okay. Scoped out a tree, and I know the one end is at least 30 foot up, and I have this amazing beanbag slinger. That's what I call it. It's quite the piece of work there. It better be. It was almost $300. but it takes a 14-ounce beanbag and it launches it into space. You know what I'm saying? Like it every time it comes back down, it's kind of hot on re-entry. But I know the other end is about 50 foot up, and all I saw, like I was just talking, it was like Russia, Poland, Germany. Like it was off the hook the other day there. Over.
It's very good, very good. Well, last weekend I worked Sardinia on 15-meter CWQRP. That was a decent contact, but nothing really, super DX. Could work into Europe, maybe South America, but nothing really extravagant. I'm still waiting for 10 meters to open up again so I can really work those contacts, but it's been pretty slow the whole summer, so I'm hoping things pick up again, but you can really make some serious DX. So, when stuff is working, but right now the bands are still pretty close, especially for 12 meters. There's some highlights, but 10 meters is still a bit close, more or less. So we'll have to.
Red light camera reported ahead.
But it's just a wait and see, and then we'll have to figure out what happens next. But at least 40 meters, 60 meters, and 80 meters will be back again. I'm looking forward to that and seeing what type of contacts I can make, especially 60 meters. It's a very interesting band. So we'll see what the winter has in store.
VA3OTW, VA3EWV mobile returning. Yeah, I was actually reading up on 60 meters there on last Friday, and I see that it's in 3 different sections. I haven't got a chance to talk on 60 meter. I don't think any of my antennas do 60 meter. I'm not too sure. But, it's loud on the road there. But I know that, one second. Had to close the windows. There was way too much noise coming from the road there. But what I was saying was, I tested my infrared half wave. It's 63 feet long. I think that's right. So I successfully was able to talk on 80 meters, 40 meters, 20 meters for sure, 10, and I was able to do, I think, 17, if I'm not mistaken. So I did all those on phone, and then I went back and did them on FT8, and for the first time ever, I actually tried out FT8 in a park. Everything actually worked right that day. I had all the parts and pieces, didn't forget anything at home, and I actually made FT8 contacts on parks on the air. I just did it at the end just to see if I could do it, and it worked. And the next thing I'm going to try is WinLink. A friend said my radio, I should have everything. He said if you can do FT8, you can send emails. So last week, he sent me a test email. He was out in the field, and he was on his HF radio and with his computer there, and he sent me a email from his computer. No internet connection, no nothing, and he was able to send that over the air. That was pretty cool, I thought. Have you ever heard of WinLink?
I've never tried WinLink, but it's certainly popular if you're into that sort of thing. There are different digipeaters in the area, and essentially you have to send it to a digipeater, and then the digipeater kind of sends it through the internet, and then that's how the email gets sent.
How's it going, bro?
I believe there's also a setup, some people do it for field day, because remember, you get the bonus points for a radiogram. So a lot of people do the radiogram via WinLink, and then they'll send it to whoever their NTC is, and then from there they get the bonus points. So I've never played with it myself, but there's a lot of possibilities for it, making a mesh network and WinLink, and the possibilities are endless with those sorts of things.
Well, you know me, I'm up to trying something new since I'm very new to the hobby. I'm going to be 2 years old into the hobby once January pops around, but they're still quite new. I do meet new hams as I continue to talk on the radio there. But for the most part, a lot of the guys are seasoned out there. They've been out there for a while, so yeah. As you know, everything's new and exciting, so I'm dabbling in a little bit of everything. And I was like, oh, I wouldn't mind trying that wind leak. So, but not now. I have enough on my plate with trying to learn CW at the moment. There, okay.
Oh yeah, that's a tough one for sure. And I'm not even that good at it myself, but yeah, you gotta practice every day. That's the key. And break it up when you
20,
can.
okay.
You know, an hour a day, 6 intervals of 10 minutes, usually that works out. And try and find time a day to do it. I know it's tough, but yeah, if you want to do it, you gotta find the time. But yeah, wind leak, yeah, I haven't really dabbled into it that much. The wind leak and the radiograms, I know there's a small group who do that sort of thing, and I don't know which digipeaters here in the area are open and which ones aren't, but yeah, there's a lot of options to do that, and you have to look up in your area to see if there is a digipeater available or some sort of network. You could send a wind leak message, or if you want to do it station to station, I believe it's possible as well too. You'd have to find someone or coordinate with somebody and then hook up the wind link so they can receive messages. So yeah, it's an interesting part of the hobby, and I haven't really done any of it, to be honest. But yeah, if it piques your interest, there's certainly a lot of options out there.
Hey, before I forget, are you going to be going to the Ham Festival this coming up weekend there?
No, negative. No, I wasn't planning on it. The weather is supposed to rain on the weekend, so I probably won't make it out. But I heard last year was shoulder to shoulder. It was quite packed in there. So you'll have to let me know how it goes. And yeah, I'm sure there'll be. There's different amateurs who usually carpool and different people who really get into it. So yeah, if you're going, I hope you have a good time. But yeah, I'm sure it will be well attended. It's one of the bigger ones for sure.
Well, so far no cool kids that I know are going, so I don't know. My wife, she doesn't have a problem with me going to things like that, right? But I can't take too much advantage. I'm pretty active, but so I have to really plan the times I'm not going to be at the house and make it count. So I've asked a couple people that I've met that I've been talking to a lot lately, and for different reasons, mostly travel and stuff like that. Mostly travel, actually, and some people aren't even in town. Also, we're having our own Ham Fest there at the end of September, so they're planning for that rather than going to other Ham Fests. So instead of going, because it usually lasts about 4 hours, to my knowledge, about 4 hours. So I think I'll take that 4 hours, like I say, since none of the cool kids that I know are going, and I'll just do some parks on the air there. Oh, not even parks on the air. I found this other thing called lighthouses on the air. We actually have one in Cornwall, about a 20-minute drive from my house. So if I can convince the wife to go out there to the lighthouse and have a little picnic, and try to get her involved in there, that'll be something I would like to do, as opposed to I know it's raining and stuff like that, but I still wouldn't mind going out there and doing one of the lighthouses things. That should be cool. Back over to you.
Well, excellent, Curtis. That sounds like a great idea. If you could convince the XYL to get out there and have a picnic. I have a QSL card for one of those. I worked one in New Brunswick once. You had the lighthouses on the air. I have a number here, but I have worked them before. And I never heard of them until I worked one of the stations. But yeah, apparently they do lighthouses, and you can activate these lighthouses all over the place. I think there was a group here, they went down to, I think there's one in Morrisburg or Iroquois, somewhere around there, and I think they did it. But yeah, I can imagine that your club would be busy, but that being said, you're out in Cornwall, so I think there's a bigger Ham Fest in the West Island in Montreal coming up next month. So you're closer to the good stuff. So I know for here, at least East Central Ontario, Carp is the bigger one, but you're further east, so I think Lachute has one as well too, if I'm not mistaken. And I know West Island has one. I think around October, November. So you have some bigger ones ahead of yours. So if you miss this weekend, don't feel too bad.
Oh, no, I'm not going to. But if there were lots of people going that I knew, I would definitely try to make the trip. With me, I go to Ottawa every day, right? So to make a 6th trip to Ottawa, that's not appealing unless you got some buddies over there, right? So I did go last year. It was my second ham fest I ever went to. The first one was Iroquois. That was my first ham fest I went to last year. Followed by the Carp Ham Festival. On both the Iroquois and the Carp, the only thing I bought was their food. They both had amazing food, good chili, good hamburgers. They didn't taste like they were stamped out. They put some love into it. So I walked away with a belly full at the Iroquois Ham Fest and at the Carp Ham Fest. And I came back because the wife gives me my allowance there. And both times I brought everything back but $20. And she goes, "You didn't spend anything?" I'm like, "Yeah, I bought some raffle tickets and I bought some food, and that was all under $20. So that was a win. And paid my admission, so that was a win-win for me there. Back over to you."
Well, that's excellent to hear, Ernest. And yeah, I haven't heard of anybody critiquing the food at the ham festivals, but if it's good, it's good. I guess I've never thought about it or tried it. So I guess to each their own. And who knows, maybe Lachute or West Island, there might be some poutine or something delicious that might interest you. But yeah, that's good. That's good. I'm not really looking for anything, to be honest. So I said if the weather's nice, maybe I'll go. But it's supposed to be raining all weekend, so I'll probably pass on it. Yeah, there's a lot of other stuff on the go, like you said. And lighthouse is on the air. You actually could activate a lighthouse. Yeah, that would be great. You'd have access to that. So yeah, a lot of stuff happening. So yeah, I don't blame you for not making a trip. I know you commute this way on a regular basis, but yeah, if you have other plans, yeah, you might as well go for it. There's only so many hours in the day.
Right. I was saying right. As soon as you said it, I'm like, right, you're right. There's only so many hours in the day. Hey, you always have me giggling though, John. You're like, you haven't heard anybody critique the food. Well, when I worked, now check this out. Remember, I attempted my basic test like 7 times before I actually passed it, right? So wasn't the time, only passed with a 7.3, which was kind of cool. That 7.3 is like the whole goodbye, have a great day type thing. So I was happy with that. I was proud of my 7.3 there. And when I went to the first one in Iroquois, I didn't even know what I was looking at. So I just walked around and put a little grin on my face and, waved at people and stuff. Didn't know a soul and, kind of walked around for a little while, a couple circles. Got myself that food. And I was like, damn, this chili's good. Like, it surprised me. It was that good. I was like, wow, this is pretty good. And then I was like, I found myself walking to the place saying to people, "Hey, did you try the chili?" That's how impressed I was with the chili. So when I went to the Carp Ham Festival, I walked around again, didn't know what I was looking at again, all the parts and pieces. Because everything that they were showing, it's like transistors, resistors, and all the stuff that you read about in the basic book. And like they had tubes and everything else, and I was like, I don't have anything for that. I had 2 handy talkers at the time, a Baofeng and a a Baofeng and a Wuxin, and I had my Anytone. None of that stuff that they were selling goes inside these radios, so I was out on that. And then I went to go look for the eats over there, and I'm like looking at those tasty burgers, and I'm like, oh, y'all throwing down on some burgers. I'll try one. And then that went to 2. And then I'm like, y'all got chili too? Well, let's go with it. And that's what I did. I sat there and ate chili and I had 2 hamburgers and was again at the Carp Ham Festival saying, hey, did y'all try the burgers? Over? Back over to you.
VA3EWV Mobile Victor Echo 3 Oscar Tango Whiskey returning. Yeah, well, I'm not knocking it, Ernest. To each their own. And if you enjoy the food, well, goodness, more power to you. And if the chili is good and the hamburgers are good, well, by all means, go ahead. And if that's what brings you in, then sure, enjoy it and have a good time with it. Well, I was the thing where, when I first got my license, I really only wanted to do VHS, maybe take a radio with me hiking once in a while, maybe stay in touch in case I was out of cell phone coverage. I really had no plans for anything else. But, one thing leads to another, and, you find out about HF and repeaters and all this other stuff.
By the time I got to the Smith Falls Hamfest this past year, I actually knew a little bit about radio about that time. I had matured a bit, had been on the radio. At that point now, I had a ICOM handy talkie, Bell Fang, Yaesu, and the Wookson. So 4 handy talkies, 2 mobile. I have a 220 rig from Alinco, then my Anytone with DMR and all that stuff. Still had no HF rig because I didn't have an HF license at the time. But by the time I went there, I knew a little bit about radio. So I didn't go to the food right away. I actually wound up buying myself a rotor, a Yaesu, I forget the model number rotor, because I was going to be putting in a tower sooner or later. So I finally spent money on that. That was like $350. And then I saw the inverted V there by MFJ, I think it was, or whoever the thing is. Everybody knows, they say the name of it all the time. But there's a mini, and then there's the not mini. I have the not mini, and it said it did 80 to 10, right? That inverted V. It has not worked as good as my in-fed halfway, but I'm just going to let you know that right now. It'll work good on 20 on a good day. Some days it won't tune on 20 at all on my Yaesu there. And some days it'll work on 40, some days it won't. It's an iffy. And that was brand new out the box, all shiny. My own one I made myself outperforms that one. So it might just be me. It's the ladder line, blah, 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 blah. So if I was going to go to carb, I was going to take that with me to try to sell it. That was going to be what I was going to try to do with that. And find myself a two position switch. That's what I need, a little 2-position switch. Because I've been bringing my in-fed half-wave out to the park, and I have a new vertical. And let me tell you, it works really good with having both antennas out there. Because it's almost like I can, well, I don't have to say it to you, you already know, but one's more directional, one's not directional, and they work good as a team. Listening on one and transmitting on the other, it works pretty good. And I'm used to just flipping the switch back and forth with my hand, and I've been, averaging over 100 contacts every time I go to the park there. Back over to you. I'm probably going to lose you soon. Can you still hear me, by the way?
Yeah, Ernest, I can still pick you up here on this end. It's, verticals are okay. I've used verticals from time to time, but you really have to have a good set of radials or counterpoints in order to make it work. If you don't have that, then yeah, the vertical, you're going to have mediocre results. But for the upper bands, especially, vertical could work quite well. But that being said, yeah, with the NFED, you certainly have the advantage. You have some flexibility in regards to the different bands you can work, and as long as it's tuned up and everything's measured out right, and you have a good grounding for it, you should be good to go. So I'm happy to hear that you're having success with your Edwave there, and I think you made that. I think Steve helped you make that. EZB, I think, but that's good. That's good. You're having success with it, and yeah, you have to find what kind of works and go with it, and then experiment with some stuff in between.
VA3OTW, VA3EWV mobile for station ID. Yeah, Steve helped me make that, and as a matter of fact, I actually got a hold of him last night and said, "Hey, Steve, I'm going to buy all the parts and pieces. Can you help me put together a more robust one with thicker line?" I don't know what gauge wire this is, but it's It's very thin. It's very thin, but it's pretty rugged. I've been surprised it hasn't snapped or anything. But it wasn't made for a permanent solution. Now that I got a good spot at the house and it's facing the way I want it to face, I want to kind of get one up that can at least handle at least 200 watts. Because I'm thinking that for Christmas, I'm going to pop out with me one of those radios that has 200 watts built in. And I'm just going to keep my Yaesu 991A for the parks and stuff. Because I've been having a really good time with that. It's got a lot of flexibility to it. I can do FT8 out there too, like I said, and it has the GPS feature and all that good stuff like that too. So I think I'm gonna get a big boy toy and get into debt and throw one of those bad boys on my credit card there, a big boy radio, and call it a day there. Over.
Oh, well, very good, very good. Yeah, well, when the winter time comes, as I said, you have more availability for the lower bands there. 80 meters, 60 meters, 40 meters, maybe even 160 if you have the real estate. But with the NFED, if everything measures out, you should have access to those bands without much effort. And then you can do that on your end and have access to said bands. So that'll be exciting as well too, because I don't think you've worked the bands before, which can be interesting. Even 40 meters, even 30 meters. It's not 30 meters is in between, but that could be interesting in the evening as well too. And as the days are getting shorter, those bands will come more and more into play as the days get shorter. And then once the days get longer again in springtime, then people will start to shift back to 10 meters.
Well, Jonathan, I think we're going to have to break it here because you're starting to chop up on my end there. Anyway, Jonathan, I'll catch you down the line, as they say, VE3OTW. This is VA3EWV, and I'll be clear on your final there. Back over to you.
Okay, yours very good. Well, I guess I'm breaking up on that end. It's good to hear you this evening as always, and you're still coming in here. So kudos to you and that mobile setup. Your car to Porcupine, because I know you have all those different antennas up there. So must look like a pretty animal. But here on a solid signal to hear from the